No one saw this coming. Devils update of potential third liner being a breakout candidate for the upcoming season. Sheldon Keefe's going to need Dawson Mercer to become one of those breakout players. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Devils Digest. I'm your host, Ryan the Gosiker, here with you as always, breaking down the latest, greatest Devils content for you. And we've got a great show planned for you today. But first, I want you to be a subscriber to Devils Digest. I need you to help us get to 500 subscribers. We're slowly getting there. We're inching our way there, but we need your help to be one of those first 500 subscribers to the channel, and then that way we can kind of take off from there. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you listening, watching, and everything like that. We appreciate your participation as well. I know we get a lot of comments on the videos, some good, some bad, some in between. And again, as I mentioned in the last video, I'm working on the backdrop, so we should have something there soon. Okay, but again, let's get into the program. Today, I want to talk about Dawson Mercer, as I was reading a report that suggests that he could be one of the potential breakout candidates this year for the 2025-2026 season. Now, this came from yahoo.com, and, you can see Dawson Mercer, 36 points, coming off a career low 33 the year before. The question really, to me, is going to be, what happened to that guy in 2022-2023, even his rookie year with 42 points, but the 56-point performance in 2022-2023, when the Devils have it all cooking, where is that guy? Where is that Dawson Mercer? And by the way, I looked at the stats. He had 7 points in that playoffs in 2022-2023. So that guy has seemingly disappeared from this roster, and it's unfortunate because the Devils really need him. I talked about it in the last video a little bit. The Devils really have right now about 2.5 centers, okay? And that is not a shot at Jack Hughes' game. That is a shot at Jack Hughes not being able to stay healthy. So he only counts as half, okay? And then if you remember correctly, even not this past season, but the season before when he had the wrist injury and he was battling through and he's fighting and trying to still play, they had to take him off of center because he couldn't take faceoffs. So they really have 2.5 centers. And when Dawson Mercer plays like he did this past season and like he did the year before with career lows and points, now the Devils are really down to 2 total centers on 3 lines. Nico being a whole, Jack being a half, and Mercer being a half when he's not producing. Okay? The one thing I will say about Dawson Mercer is, and it's something I do all the time, I forget about it. We talk about him. He could be he could be a huge trade chip. But if he's not, and he's still on this roster next year, he does, when he is playing at the peak of his powers, have the ability to live up to that $4 million payday. And I fully expect him to. And I think Devils fans should expect him to. I think they should hold him to a high standard. He came out the gate strong. 42 points his rookie year, 56 in his second season. Now back-to-back tough years. The question's going to be, when does the tide turn for Dawson Mercer? Now, I have done this numerous times. I forget how old Dawson Mercer is. Yes, he was a 2020 first-round pick. However, he's 23 years of age. Okay? So he is just getting into his prime. What would be prime years? Okay? So Dawson Mercer should be and is a prime suspect for a breakout player next year, and a guy that needs to bounce back and needs to take control. Because again, like we see in basketball all the time, right? The leader of the second group, right? They're so valuable. Why? Because you have to make sure that they're firing. Well, Nico and Jack take the first 2 lines. Dawson has to own the third line. He's got to be that guy. He's got to be the stalwart in the middle, so that no matter what happens outside, because eventually the Devils will have enough forwards where they're interchanging guys, maybe Rempe's playing, they put MacDermid in, stuff like that, where he's just that guy you pencil him in for the third line center every single night. And again, God forbid an injury happens, he slides up to 2C. But what I'm saying is I expect Dawson to, if he is on this roster, and I still think that's a very big if he is still on this roster, come September, come training camp, and into the preseason, I think he can have a really big year. He needs to have a really big year for New Jersey, and like I said, their bottom 6 needs it, right? Because they don't have a 4C right now. We'll see what happens with Cody Glass, okay? But You would expect them to potentially go look for one, but again, probably not the caliber of a player Dawson Mercer is, or can be, I should say, when he's firing on all cylinders. So Dawson Mercer, breakout candidate this upcoming season, if he's on the Devils roster. Again, still a big if, but certainly it's going to be interesting to follow and keep track of. And again, as I mentioned, you just don't know who's going to be on this roster come September or October, because if the Devils want to make big moves like their GM promised, and I read your comments, I see a lot of people are turned off by Fitzgerald and are ready for him to hit the hay. But if he's going to make these changes that he has said, it will involve some guys being off this roster that were previously on it. So it's going to be really interesting. Stay with us on Devils Digest. We're bringing you all the latest, greatest content in Devils land, and we appreciate you being part of the Devils Digest community as well. So make sure you leave us a comment, okay? We still got some time here on this program, but I want to make sure you leave us a comment. Let me know what you think. Again, good, bad, ugly, pretty, different, indifferent, doesn't matter to me. Let me know what you're thinking, and we'll go from there. This is a Devils community, right? We're not always going to agree on everything. It's good for us to disagree, right? There's going to be plenty of moves that the Devils make that maybe I love that you don't, okay? So it's only heating up, man. It's only heating up. And I got to tell you, there's this report. I know we got some time here, but there was a report, and it's not even a report. It would look like a podcast type thing, where they were talking about how the Devils were too small on the back end. Now, they said something that I think a lot of people are kind of skating over, which was the Devils are not hard enough to play against right now. Which I do think. Listen, the Devils' size, pure size on their defensive crew is big. Okay, compared to a lot of other teams. Okay, but I think the Devils are really missing some of that nastiness on the third and fourth line to really be pests. Excuse me. And make it harder for teams to play against New Jersey. Because again, while I agree with some Devil fans that are saying, well, the Devils are big enough, I don't see it. I do see it as the Devils still aren't hard enough to play against yet. So that should be GM Tom Fitzgerald's goal, is not only making this team into a cup contender, but also making them extremely difficult to play against and make teams not want to play New Jersey. Okay, that's his goal. That's got to be what he's got to get done this offseason. So, well, it's always fun chatting Devils hockey with you. So I appreciate you, and thank you for listening, for watching, wherever you may be listening, however you're consuming this content. We appreciate you as always. And again, be a subscriber. Help us get to 500. Leave us a comment on the video. What do you think? What do you not like? But again, to summarize this video, Dawson Mercer, if on the Devils roster next year, put that in a little asterisk, is a breakout player candidate according to Yahoo, and I happen to agree. I think if he stays, this is his year, and if it's not, then he's adios amigo. But if he's on this roster, expect Dawson Mercer to have a breakout year. We'll catch you next time on Devils Digest.